Jack Tatum was one of the most formidable hitters in the NFL, acting as a true Pro Bowl-worthy safety. Tatum terrorized opponents with his punishing blows. His intimidating presence helped transform the Oakland Raiders into one of the most feared teams of his era. Recognized by NFL Films as the sixth hardest hitter in NFL history, Tatum was selected for 3 Pro Bowls and holds the record for the longest fumble return in NFL history, a feat that was only matched 28 years later. For many, Tatum's career will only be truly complete when he is included in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. However, many believe that this honor will never be granted to him due to a tragic incident during a preseason game when one of his hits left New England Patriots receiver Daryl Stingley paralyzed from the neck down. This isolated incident will likely keep Jack Tatum out of the NFL Hall of Fame, even though other players who played with equal toughness and had the potential to cause similar injuries have already been included. Tough defenses were the norm, and intimidation was celebrated at the time, just as it is today. Even when it crossed the boundaries of the rules, players like Jack Lambert, who kicked opponents, and Dick Butkus, known for planting ball carriers' heads into the ground, exemplify this scenario. Scratching and punching during games were considered a demonstration of toughness. Jack Tatum was just one of many players before and after him who played with a cruel side to professional football. The hit on Daryl Stingley, while considered by many to be technically clean, was especially cruel given that it occurred in a preseason game of little significance. Therefore, the question arises, in your opinion, does Jack Tatum deserve a place in the Hall of Fame, or is he not worthy of such an honor? This is the Raiders History Channel, and today you will learn about the story of Jack Tatum, the assassin from his childhood to his glory days in Oakland, through his retirement and his years of battling a disease that almost left him unable to walk. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the Raiders History Channel and leave a like on the video to help the channel. Tatum was born on November 18, 1948, in the city of Cherryville, North Carolina, and spent his childhood in New Jersey in Passaic County. Around 1950, Tatum's parents decided to move the family from rural North Carolina to New Jersey in search of better job opportunities and education for their children. Initially, Tatum's family settled in the city of Clifton. In the new city, Tatum faced an immediate cultural shock as he went from a segregated school in the countryside to a segregated school in the big city. Something completely different. The family stayed in Clifton for a year before moving to the neighboring city of Passaic the following year. Tatum was an active boy who liked to spend his time outdoors. While studying at Passaic High School, he began to play basketball frequently, developing a love for the sport, just like his brothers Manuel, who was 10 years older, and Samuel, 5 years older. In the 6th grade, Jack realized that he was a better athlete than the kids he played with. However, that year, Tatum moved again, this time to another neighboring city, Patterson, where he had to adjust once more. After 3 years in Patterson, it was there that Tatum first joined a football team, playing for 1 season on his school's freshman team. Eventually, the family returned to Passaic, this time to stay permanently. Upon returning to Passaic, Tatum had already set his sights on becoming a professional football player. The brief season he played football in Patterson was a real turning point. It was at that moment that Tatum began to be seen as a football prospect. However, despite his athletic talent, Tatum's parents did not want him to pursue a sports career. They wanted him to finish his studies and get a stable job like his father, who was a welder, or his mother, who worked as a domestic worker. His mother, in particular, was the most opposed to the idea of seeing her son play football. Even so, Tatum decided to join the Passaic High School football team. In his first season playing for the Passaic High School team, Tatum suffered a sprained ankle, and when he was taken home, his mother was distraught. Despite this incident and his mother's disapproval of football, she couldn't stop Tatum from continuing to play. Although he was a friendly and rather quiet young man, Jack Tatum had an aggressive playing style that no one could teach. It was something natural. He intimidated opponents with his defense, but also became an offensive force. Playing as a linebacker, Passaic High School already had an excellent running back, And it was only later that Tatum took on that position. As a running back, Tatum shined, accumulating 1,421 yards in his senior season and earning All-American honors as a 205-pound fullback, a true powerhouse on the field. In 1966, during his final year in high school, Tatum led the Passaic team in rushing and was also the leader in tackles, with an impressive 187 tackles that season. This performance caught the attention of almost all the major universities, which wanted the talented player from Passaic on their teams. Although many college recruiters visited Passaic, Tatum had specific plans for his future. He was determined to go to Syracuse University, the institution where his greatest idol, Jim Brown, had played. Tatum wanted his family to be able to see him play, and Syracuse was the closest major university. However, after an Ohio State University recruiter failed to recruit Tatum, Ohio State Buckeyes coach Woody Hayes decided to go personally to Passaic to recruit Tatum. Hayes had the brilliant and strategic idea of convincing Tatum's mother to encourage him to choose Ohio State University as his ideal higher education institution. The unexpected happened when Tatum's mother, who had been quite resistant and disapproved of the idea of her son going to college just to play football, was persuaded by Coach Hayes. The coach explained that in addition to being able to excel in college football, Tatum would have the opportunity to enroll in any course offered by the prestigious Ohio State University. This way, even if his football career didn't move forward, he could still have a solid academic background and a guaranteed professional future in another field. These well-thought-out and considered arguments were enough to convince Tatum's mother, who had been quite reluctant until then. Recognizing the wisdom in Coach Hayes' words, she began to see the proposal from a new perspective. Thus, she encouraged her son to accept the generous scholarship offer provided by Ohio State University. Tatum, influenced by both his mother's conviction and the coach's persuasion, decided that this was the best decision to make. Thus, he accepted Ohio State University's scholarship offer, believing that this choice would provide him not only with a football opportunity, but also a high-quality education and a promising future in any career he decided to pursue. The only question that remained was to decide which position Tatum would play. Initially, Coach Woody Hayes had recruited Tatum to play as a running back, recognizing his exceptional skills in that role. Hayes always joked that Tatum was so talented offensively that he couldn't play defense, and so good defensively that he couldn't be placed on offense. This duality of talents made it difficult to decide where he would be most useful to the team. However, Hayes firmly believed that if Tatum played defense, he could lead Ohio State University to great achievements like a Rose Bowl victory. Despite this initial vision, assistant coach Lou Holtz had a different perspective on how to maximize Tatum's potential. Holtz vehemently argued that Tatum should be moved to the position of defensive back, especially during his freshman season, to make the most of his impressive defensive skills. After many discussions and considerations, Holtz managed to persuade Hayes to make this strategic change in Tatum's position. Thus, with the position change approved, Tatum began his journey as a defensive back, bringing a new dynamic to the team's defense and solidifying his reputation as a versatile and extremely talented player. This strategic choice proved to be correct, as Tatum not only elevated the team's defense, but also played a key role in leading Ohio State University to significant victories and recognition in the college football scene. While playing for Ohio State University, Tatum was selected to the All-Big Ten first team in 1968, 1969, and 1970. During his last two seasons, he was a unanimous All-American. In 1970, Tatum was named National Defensive Player of the Year and was among the top contenders for the Heisman Trophy, which is awarded to the best college football player in the country that year. With such an impressive college football resume, Tatum was already considered a sure pick for a professional football team when he entered the 1971 NFL Draft after his final year at university. He was selected as the 19th overall pick by the Oakland Raiders. Tatum later stated that the Raiders were the only team he had never heard of. The Raiders chose him to replace former safety Dave Grayson, who retired after the 1970 season. A few weeks later, Tatum signed a 3-year contract worth 6 figures with a signing bonus of $50,000, equivalent to approximately $376,000 today in 1971. The Oakland Raiders, under the leadership of Al Davis, had a reputation for playing a mad bomber style characterized by open and offensive football. However, the selection of Jacktatum would change this image, transforming the team from an impressive offense to an intimidating defense. Tatum quickly became a cornerstone of Oakland's defense. After an exhibition game against the Baltimore Colts, sports journalists began comparing his hits to those of the famous Chicago Bears linebacker Dick Butkus. However, while Butkus's defensive style was known for being furious and fierce, Tatum used grim intimidation followed by explosive hits. This style of play quickly led sports journalists to nickname Tatum the Assassin, a name he embraced and savored throughout his career. Despite this nickname, his former coach John Madden stated that Tatum was never called by that name by his teammates during his playing career. Due to his impressive hard-hitting skills, Tatum became the starting safety in his rookie year, further solidifying his position as a crucial part of the Raiders' defense. In his second season with the Oakland Raiders, Jacktatum was involved in one of the most memorable plays in National Football League history, the Immaculate Reception. This iconic moment occurred during the AFC Divisional Playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on December 23, 1972. With only 22 seconds left in the game, Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw threw a pass to running back John Fuqua. Tatum collided with Fuqua, causing the ball to fly into the air. The ball then landed in the hands of Steelers running back Franco Harris, who ran 42 yards to score the winning touchdown. This play is famous because, according to NFL rules at the time, a receiver could not deflect the ball to another player on the same team. However, the referees determined that Tatum had touched the ball, allowing Harris's touchdown to stand and securing the victory for the Steelers. During his first 6 NFL seasons, Tatum recorded 19 interceptions. In Super Bowl XI on January 9, 1977, when the Raiders defeated the Minnesota Vikings, Tatum delivered one of the most iconic moments of the game. He hit Vikings wide receiver Sammy White so hard that it knocked White's helmet off. This play is often considered one of the greatest hits in Super Bowl history. Despite his extremely violent plays, Tatum never apologized for his style of play, stating that football is a violent sport by nature. The following year, in 1978, Tatum delivered his most infamous hit during an exhibition game against the New England Patriots on August 12, 1978. Tatum was involved in a play that would have long-lasting repercussions for his life and the life of Daryl Stingley, the talented Patriots wide receiver. Stingley had already completed 6 seasons in professional football, all played with distinction for the New England Patriots. His most notable performance occurred the previous year, in 1977, when he recorded 39 receptions for 657 yards and 5 touchdowns. Additionally, Stingley had demonstrated exceptional skills on the field, including in running plays. At the time of the incident, Stingley was negotiating a contract renewal with the Patriots, which would have made him the highest-paid wide receiver in the league. However, these plans never materialized due to the tragic incident that occurred during the game against the Raiders. As Stingley leaped to catch a pass on an inside slant route, Tatum delivered a severe and impactful hit. This play, which could have been just another in a sea of many, turned into a tragic landmark in sports history. The collision was peculiar as Stingley lowered his head to protect himself and ended up hitting Tatum's shoulder. The brutality of the collision was evident as Tatum struck Stingley forcefully, leaving him immobilized on the ground. Surprisingly, no flag was thrown during the play, since it did not violate any specific rule, allowing Tatum to return to his defensive position on the Raiders' field while Stingley received medical attention. Stingley was carried off the field on a stretcher and then taken to a nearby hospital. The seriousness of the situation became evident after the game ended when Raiders coach John Madden, feeling the gravity of the situation, decided to act on his own and went to the hospital, fearing the worst. Upon arriving at the hospital, Madden received the terrible news that Stingley's spinal cord had been severely damaged in the impact, leaving him paralyzed from the neck down. Surprisingly, no Patriots representatives were present at the hospital, as the team had not been notified of Stingley's critical condition. Madden took responsibility and personally contacted the Patriots coach, who was already at the airport waiting for the flight home. Before the plane took off, Madden delivered the news, resulting in the immediate cancellation of the flight and the mobilization of the entire Patriots coaching staff and players to the hospital, demonstrating the solidarity and concern of everyone involved in the Patriots organization. During the period Stingley was in the hospital, John Madden made sure to visit him almost daily, creating bonds that transcended the sports environment and solidified a lifelong friendship. On the other hand, it is noteworthy that Tatum apparently chose not to seek contact with Stingley after the incident. According to close friends, the incident deeply affected Jack Tatum and made him somewhat reclusive for several years. According to John Madden, this event consumed him throughout his life. In his autobiography, released in 1983, Daryl Stingley stated that Tatum never made any effort to apologize or visit him after the incident. Tatum, on the other hand, said he tried to visit Stingley in the hospital, but was rejected by Stingley's family. They almost met once in a television interview, but Stingley withdrew when he discovered that Tatum would be promoting his new autobiography during the interview. After that missed encounter, the two never spoke again. However, in an interview with the Boston Globe in 2003, Daryl Stingley revealed that he had forgiven Jack Tatum for the incident that changed his life. Stingley remained connected to the Patriots. Although he never received the high salary he had negotiated before his injury, he worked as the executive director of player personnel until his death in 2007, caused by complications from heart disease and pneumonia exacerbated by his quadriplegia. Although 29 years had passed since the tragic event, Stingley never received a phone call from Tatum with an apology. While Stingley found inner peace by forgiving Tatum, the expected contact between the two never happened, leaving a significant mark on football history in their lives. Although the NFL took no disciplinary action against Tatum for the hit that caused the injury, rules regarding violent hits were subsequently tightened. Jack Tatum remained with the Oakland Raiders until the end of the 1979 season, when he was traded to the Houston Oilers in exchange for running back Kenny King and seventh-round picks in the 1980 and 1981 NFL drafts. Tatum stayed in Houston for only one season, being released by the Oilers at the end of the 1980 season. With this release, Tatum decided it was time to end his professional football career. He finished his career with the Oilers, playing all 16 games that season and recording 7 interceptions, a personal record for a single season. After retiring from football, Tatum returned to the Raiders to work in the marketing department, representing the team at various events. However, he remained in this role for only a short time. Tatum decided to invest in real estate, buying houses for rental. Later, he opened his own restaurant in partnership with another person in Pittsburgh, California. In addition to his business ventures, Tatum also became a writer, publishing 3 best-selling books in which he recounted his life and career. Jack Tatum also faced one of the toughest battles of his life in 2003. What he initially thought was a simple cold turned out to be a staph infection related to diabetes, which eventually led to the amputation of his right leg. According to relatives, when Tatum fell ill, it had a profound impact on his life, affecting him significantly and leading to a deep depression. To many, it seemed like Tatum was being punished by fate for leaving Daryl Stingley quadriplegic. There was a belief among some people that Tatum was experiencing some kind of retribution or punishment for the incident with Daryl Stingley, and that, in a way, Tatum deserved to go through this suffering. However, Tatum found an unexpected source of inspiration and motivation by observing children who were battling the same disease as him. Seeing the courage and resilience of these children in the midst of their own struggles with the illness deeply touched Tatum's heart. Instead of succumbing to despair, he decided to use his experience and emotions to do something positive and meaningful. This new perspective led him to dedicate himself to helping others, especially those children facing challenges similar to his own. Motivated by the desire to provide support and hope, Tatum began to engage in activities aimed at benefiting these children and their families. he dedicated himself to offering help, whether through hospital visits, sharing words of encouragement, or participating in awareness and fundraising campaigns for diabetes research and treatment. Through this engagement, Tatum found a new purpose in his life, turning his own pain into a driving force for the well-being of others. Shortly after, Tatum also suffered from an arterial blockage, resulting in the amputation of his right leg. After this, he started using a prosthesis. Despite the difficulties, Tatum dedicated himself to raising awareness about diabetes. To achieve this goal, he created the Jacktatum Fund for Youthful Diabetes, based in Ohio, which funds research on the disease. In 2008, Tatum was honored by his old school, Passaic High School. The final football game of the season between Passaic and its rival Clifton High School was declared Jack Tatum Day. During a halftime ceremony, his number 32 was officially retired, celebrating his contributions and legacy. In his later years, Tatum's kidneys began to fail, and he was awaiting a kidney transplant when he passed away on July 27, 2010, in Oakland following a heart attack. After his passing, many tributes were paid. The Oakland Raiders released a statement saying, "Jack Tatum was the standard bearer and an inspiration for the safety position in all of college and professional football." Jack Tatum was honored with inclusion in the College Football Hall of Fame due to his remarkable performance during his college football years with the Ohio State Buckeyes. His leadership and skills were significant contributions to the success of the Oakland Raiders, one of the most resilient teams of the 1970s. Tatum is recognized as the sixth hardest hitter in NFL history according to NFL Films, and his presence was notable in 3 Pro Bowls. Additionally, his number was retired by Passaic High School, demonstrating his impact on the sport. Given Tatum's entire legacy and contribution to the Raiders, the question arises, did he deserve a spot in the Professional Football Hall of Fame? We want to know your opinion, so leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the Raiders History channel for more content like this. Don't miss the next video on the channel. See you then, everyone!